Daniel Cormier versus Brock Lesnar in the future, but I am here today to look at it from a wrestling fan's perspective. I'm here to break it all down. Daniel Cormier, Brock Lesnar. First is UFC doing a better job at wrestling entertainment than WWE is. That is a legitimate question after last night with this build, because I'm scrolling through Twitter last night and I see that, okay, Brock's gonna make an appearance at UFC, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. But he showed up, and obviously they had the spot where he got involved after the match, and I gotta say, it was well done. It was much like a wrestling build. And the backdrop to all of this is that Daniel Cormier is a huge wrestling fan. Huge wrestling fan. If you don't know much about the guy, if you're a wrestling fan, just know that the guy loves wrestling down to his core. He's one of us, to be quite honest. And Brock Lesnar is obviously Brock Lesnar. So he calls Brock Lesnar out, and Brock Lesnar pushes him, and Brock gets on the mic. And this just furthers my point that simple is great. Simple works, because what they did with Simple, they just gave Brock Lesnar the mic, had him say a few words, and obviously Brock is going to get on the mic and bring out a bunch of foul language, to which he did. I don't endorse that, but it is what it is. That's Brock Lesnar. And he said it, and it got intense. Now, a lot of people came out after that and said, man, you know what, that's fake. And you know what, yeah, it is fake, but it's entertaining. It's like wrestling. Look, I mean, I know, obviously we know that they don't really hate each other, but the part of the build is the story. The part of the intrigue is the story. And UFC just told a fantastic story in one night. And you know, it's crazy because I look at this situation as well from a wrestling fan's perspective, and it's like, man, Brock just has Dana White and Vince McMahon up under his thumb. I've never seen anything like this. Brock Lesnar, the guy that can basically write his own contract in WWE, has a Universal title, doesn't show up. Reportedly only has 2 dates left on his contract. Strolls right into UFC and gets a title shot. Like, Dana White is pretty much Vince McMahon. But at the least, I can understand the perspective of Dana White much more than I can Vince McMahon. Obviously, Brock Lesnar is a much bigger deal in UFC than he is WWE. So while I don't like it in UFC, I get it. So I mean, looking at it also, I mean, look, why don't I like Brock having all this power? It is what it is. I mean, if you can have all the power, then more power to him. But there's a way that UFC and WWE can cash out on this. Brock Lesnar already has all the power, for goodness sake, but looking at SummerSlam, wouldn't it be a fantastic deal? Now, I'm looking at this from a wrestling fan's perspective. Have DC there, have him jump the rail at SummerSlam, have him beat down Brock, and let Braun cash in. That way, both companies can win that way if they ever so chose to go down that route. But looking at the situation at hand, I mean, I look at it and I say, sheesh, man. Why can't they make anything this interesting with Brock in WWE? Because they just have him come out. He wrestles these long matches. He does one suplex. Heyman does all the talking. That's getting repetitive. And I'm at the point from a wrestling fan's perspective to where I look at Brock Lesnar and I find him interesting in UFC. There's something there with Brock Lesnar in UFC. I don't think he can beat Daniel Cormier, but he's going to get a huge payday. I'm pretty sure that's why he's in it from the start. But I find him interesting. I find that match interesting. The only thing more interesting would have been if Jon Jones would have kept himself clean, and that would have been one of the biggest matches in UFC history. Jon Jones versus Brock Lesnar, but obviously that's not going to happen. Looking at it from a wrestling perspective and what it means for wrestling, look, get this title off of Brock Lesnar. Get this Universal title. I don't know why I want to call it a United States title today, but get this Universal title off of Brock Lesnar. Look, at SummerSlam, to be quite honest with you, if I had my way, I know I said that both UFC and WWE could cash in. That would be a pretty funny way to do it, but if I had my way, Brock Lesnar is just going to have to go out on his back 1, 2, 3, and he's just going to have to take a beat down. Remember what Brock Lesnar versus John Cena was? That's what I want to see. I want to see somebody maul and throw Brock Lesnar around for a clean 1, 2, 3. Go out on your back. I don't want to see Brock protected. If he's going to go in the UFC, let him go to UFC. So overall, getting back to Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Cormier, I gotta admit, I'm a wrestling fan, but I gotta admit it was well done. My fellow wrestling fans on Twitter, it was like, oh, this is pretty good. This is interesting. I found it funny. I found it entertaining. So round of applause to UFC. I'm interested to see where that match goes, and I'm interested to see what's gonna happen with Brock at SummerSlam, because this build is gonna be awkward because he's not gonna be there, and we just want our title back. Just get us the heavyweight title back on Raw, for goodness sake. Just get it over with. Tell me what you think about Brock Lesnar and Daniel Cormier. Let me know. YouTube, Twitter, hit me up. Let me